Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Samson, and in today's video, we have an absolute treat for you guys. But before we get into it, if you're into all things automotive, gun related, even fitness related, make sure that you consider subscribing because we do it all. We go to meets, we do builds, we do these car reviews and gun reviews. So if you're into that type of stuff, make sure that you consider subscribing. But in today's video, we have a 2023 Dodge Durango Hellcat model. Now, many of you may not know, but the Hellcat engine has been thrown into just about everything that Dodge has, anything from their Jeep Grand Cherokee to their Durango, of course the Challenger and Charger models. But the reason that the Durango is so special is because back in 2021, it was only supposed to be a single model year car. It was supposed to make around 3,000 units. However, people loved it so much that they did bring it back for this 2023 model year. So in today's video, we're going to go over some of the specs on this, some of the features that I like about it, some of the things I think that you'll definitely like about it. But just like that, guys, let's get into the video. And before we get started, I'm sure that the observant viewer will notice the Hellcat Challenger that is to the other side of this car. Now, although I have done a jailbreak review, if you guys would like to see a regular Hellcat review, make sure that you guys let me know down in the comments. But getting back to this Durango Hellcat, coming to the front, you do get a bit of a revised look from your regular base model or even just your regular SRT model. Get a little bit more aggressive styling with this absolutely massive grille right here in the center. And I love how they do have your SRT Hellcat badge blacked out. Really, really nice look. Now, this particular one does have the racing stripes as an option. Very, very nice. I love the racing stripes. A lot of people love them, some hate them. I personally love the racing stripes coming down from this massive grille. You do have a bit of an additional grille down here at the bottom, helping you to force as much air as possible into this motor to help you get the best performance you can possibly get. One thing that is sort of unique to the Hellcat Durango is this addition of almost like a second lip to the bottom of this front bumper. Now, many of your SRT models and just your regular Durango models will have this portion right here with your bumper. However, with this Hellcat model, you do get this extra lip that comes out just a little bit further, just making it look just that much more aggressive. And one distinctive feature about the Durango is the shape of this grille. Love how it does have that very signature Charger shape, if you will. A lot of your Dodge Chargers will also have this sort of arch that comes over the front. And I love how they bring that styling feature over to the Durango. Really, really nice setup. Now, when it comes to your headlights, you do get that signature almost C design to your running light. Very, very focused headlights on this car. They look very, very aggressive. Love your projector beam as well as, of course, your turn signals. Really, really nice. Coming down real quick, you do have an additional vent on your Hellcat Durango that is there for cooling. And when it comes to the front of this SUV, just very, very aggressive. Now, in my personal opinion, this is probably the holy grail of SUVs. You get the performance, you get the styling, you get the off-road capability if you need it, and you also get the space. This right here is a 3-row SUV, and so you do get a lot all in one with this SUV, which is absolutely amazing in my opinion. Now, of course, with all that aggressive styling out at the front, you do have to get that same aggressive styling on your hood. So with this massive hood bulge that you get in the center, you also get an intake duct right here in the front, helping bring air to the engine to help feed it, give you the best power that you can get. And you also get heat extractors to help remove hot air from this engine bay. Make sure that everything stays cooler, because the cooler things stay, the more power that you get out of it. So absolutely love the design on this hood, and it's very reminiscent of some of your Charger hoods that you may see, even your Challenger hoods. Really, really nice that Dodge brought over this design to the Durango as well. All right, guys, coming down the side of this SRT Hellcat Durango, not a whole lot's different as far as styling goes from the actual regular Durango or ever your regular SRT 392 Durango. Coming down to your front wheel and tire setup, you do have these 20-inch rims with 295 width tires. Absolutely beautiful setup. Now, I particularly do like these style rims on this SRT. Do love the SRT caps in the middle, as well as the overall style of the rim. You do get this sort of flat black design, which is beautiful. Now, as far as your braking setup, you do have absolutely massive calipers on this thing, 6-piston Brembo calipers with your SRT script, as well as these absolutely insanely massive pizza dish size rotors. They are a two-piece design to help with that rotational mass and also that heat dissipation. But it's rare that you see two-piece rotors on a SUV. That just goes to show you just how performance oriented this SUV is. I'm moving up from that. You do have your Hellcat badge right here on this front fender section, which is absolutely beautiful to see. Very, very basic styling. You do get a bit of a side skirt down the side of your SRT Durango. However, for the most part, very, very basic. Coming to your rear wheel and tire setup, you do again get those 20-inch rims. However, on the rear, you get a bit of a smaller braking setup than you do on the front. You're looking at a 4-piston caliper as compared to the 6 that you get in the front. And you're also looking at single-piece rotors in the back, not two-piece design like you did get in the front. So overall, very, very nice setup. Like I said, that same 20-inch rim with that 295 with tire. Now to mention, this is an all-wheel drive platform. Whenever you have an SUV, whether it's off-road, whether it's on the highway, you want to be able to take it wherever you want to be able to go. And so you do need all-wheel drive in some instances. So very, very nice setup to the rear braking setup of this car as well. And so moving to the rear of this SRT Hellcat Durango, you do get those same racing stripes continued from the front over the top of the vehicle and of course down the back. Absolutely lovely to see. Now, one thing that I love about this particular setup is that you do have blacked out trim with your Dodge badge being blacked out, your Durango being blacked out, and you also have your SRT badge right there blacked out as well. Really, really nice, lovely setup to the rear of this vehicle. Now, coming down from the tailgate area to this rear portion of the bumper, you do have a very, very nice look to this bumper, as well as this removable piece right here that does allow a tow hitch to be placed there if need be. You also get these massive dual exhaust tips, which you guys can only imagine with having that Hellcat engine. Sounds absolutely ridiculous. Very, very nice setup to the rear of this Dodge Durango. Absolutely love the LED strip that runs the full length of the rear of this tailgate, and of course comes out onto the side quarter panels as well. Really, really nice setup to the rear of this SUV. Now, moving back up really, really quick, you do get a bit of an additional spoiler to the rear of this SUV with this little bit of a kick that is placed right here on the top. Of course, you get your rear third brake light. Getting into the absolute goodness of this SRT Durango Hellcat, we do have this Hellcat motor. Now, this is the same motor that you're going to see in your Challengers, in your Chargers, in your Ram TRX. However, they are tuned a little bit differently because they do different things. And so this particular one sitting right around 710 horsepower. Now it is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And with this being an SUV, you do want it to be able to tow, and then it does have a towing capacity of right around 8,700 pounds, which is absolutely insane. Now, when it comes to your fuel economy, you're looking at right around 12 in the city, 17 in the highway. So it's up to you or not whether you want to get something that's going to be a little bit more fuel efficient or something that's just going to give you the time of your life. But I'm going to let you make that decision. Now, as far as weight goes, you're looking at right around 5,700 pounds, depending on your options. And so overall, a very, very nice setup. And I mean, you can't do nothing but smile when you pop your hood and you see this absolutely massive 6.2 liter V8 supercharged up under this hood. Really, really nice setup to this this Dodge Hellcat Durango. And like I mentioned earlier, this car, or this SUV rather, is all-wheel drive. And so you do have that 710 horsepower going to those four wheels, which is going to give you absolutely insane acceleration. That's one reason why a lot of people really, really love the Ram TRX, and a lot of people really, really love the Jeep Trackhawk, because it does give you that all-wheel drive and it does give you absolutely insane performance. But how about we go ahead, we take a look at the inside of this car, see what type of goodies they got on the inside. All right, guys, so getting into this SRT Hellcat Durango, first off, I do have the door closed because this is one of those weird cars where if the door is open, it will continuously chime regardless of what you do. So I did close the door just so you guys don't have to listen to that annoying chime all the time. But to the steering wheel, Absolutely beautiful setup on the steering wheel. It is rather beefy, which I really like. I do have bigger hands, and so I do like how beefy the steering wheel is. And one real quirky thing about the steering wheel is that it's a little bit more beefier on the bottom than it is on the top, which I guess if you're a lot of people are driving with their hands upside down like this, then that may be beneficial. However, a lot of people are probably going to be driving with their hand on the top. And so I wish that the beefier part was at the top. Nevertheless, very, very lovely steering wheel. Love the white stitching that you have and the complete leather wrapping of the steering wheel with the perforated leather along the sides. You do get your flappy paddles right here on the back. Real nice setup, and they are aluminum, they are real metal. A lot of manufacturers end up going with some type of plastic for their flappy paddles. However, Dodge did keep it with the metal flappy paddles on this SRT HELLCAT Durango. Now, from flappy paddles to the actual buttons on the steering wheel, you do get your adaptive cruise control, as well as your buttons for controlling your very configurable digital gauge cluster in the center. And moving from the steering wheel to that digital gauge cluster, absolutely lovely setup. Now, it isn't just a full screen. You do still have pieces in the gauge cluster that actually outline certain things like your tachometer, your speedometer, and things like that. However, for the most part, absolutely lovely setup. Love how the actual colors of the gauge cluster itself are red, which really adds to that sporty theme of this car. You do get this real big tachometer in the middle showing you your red line of 6 grand. Now, this car right here does only have 17 miles on it, which is insanely low. Now, granted, this is a 2023 model, so whoever did use this before didn't use it too much, which for the next owner is going to be absolutely excellent. Everything on this center infotainment system is like a piano black, very nice setup. Now, Dodge has really stepped it up with their interior quality, in my personal opinion. Moving from this piano black up to the dash, soft touch material. It is completely leather wrapped with the white stitching, and I like how it's black on top and then red right here in the middle. You get a little bit of two-tone goodness with this SRT HELLCAT Durango. You get a little bit of forged carbon here on the passenger side, which is absolutely beautiful to see. Now, talking about your center infotainment system, you do have a very configurable center infotainment system, and it is absolutely amazing with that touchscreen. Very responsive. You do get your media, your navigation. You do get to go into the center infotainment system and change things about your seat. If you want to have it heated, then you can heat it. If you want to have it ventilated, you can ventilate it. You do have a steering wheel heating function in this car as well, which is absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, you do have your performance pages that Dodge gives you. Now, whenever you click on your performance pages, usually it takes a little while to load. However, with this revised system, it does come up fairly quick, and you can record things like your 60-foot, your quarter mile, your eighth mile. Absolutely beautiful. You can also see things like how much horsepower you're using at a specific time, your G-forces. Absolutely amazing stuff and technology from Dodge when it comes to the performance on this HELLCAT Durango. Now, moving down from the center infotainment system, of course, it is split up by this beautiful red leather stitching. But coming down to the center console area, you do get your dual climate controls. If you don't want to go into your actual infotainment system and control your seats or your climate controls, you can do it right here via the buttons, which is beautiful to see. I love it when car manufacturers actually go in and make it so that you can use either buttons or the screen. A lot of people don't like using just the screen, which I can totally understand. So they do make it so you can just use buttons. You do have different buttons down here at the bottom for changing your drive modes. You do have your SRT button, your launch button, as well as being able to turn that traction control off. And I bet a lot of you will probably be turning it off to go ahead and get a little sturdy down the road. Coming down to this little storage area that you have in the middle, you do have your auxiliary as well as your USB-C and USB ports. Absolutely beautiful. Now, you do get a wireless charging pad for your phone with this HELLCAT SRT. Absolutely amazing setup. You again with the forged carbon along the inside of the center console area. You do get your 2 cup holders. Really nice gauge shifter with this leather wrapped shift boot. And they also give you a little bit of storage right here next to this charging pad and right behind your gauge, your gear shifter. I don't know what you would put in this storage area right behind the gear shifter other than maybe a few coins. However, other than that, not a whole lot to it. Moving from your cup holders and your gear shift lever to the actual center console, for it to be an SUV, it is very deep. You do have a lot of storage space in the center console, and you also have two levels to it. So you got a top level if you just want to put certain things like a few coins or whatever the case is, your registration, just to make sure that you can get to it easily. And then you got a bottom level, offers a little bit more storage, which is absolutely amazing. Now, moving from the center console to the actual door panel, you do have an absolutely beautiful setup to this door panel, again with the forged carbon strip down the center, and everything on with this door panel is basically leather wrapped, except for the very bottom where you might scuff up the leather with your feet. They do give you plastic on that. However, most manufacturers do that anyway, just way that you don't mess up your leather. However, very plush leather on the door panel. I did mention the black trim that you get around your door handle. Absolutely beautiful materials used by Dodge. Now, when it comes to the actual seats, you do get these very comfortable, however, also bolstered seats. And so it does give you the best of both worlds, not being too tight that you can't get into it. You can be kind of relaxed, but also giving you a little bit of a hug to make sure that you're able to go around those corners if you want to, and not slip out of your seat. Absolutely love the materials that they use. Very nice leather with this white stitching. And I love the SRT badge or SRT script that's embossed into the leather on the backrest of the seat. I do wish that they have put a actual Hellcat badge up there. However, absolutely amazing stuff in this Hellcat Durango. For your floor mats, you do get SRT specific floor mats, which is very nice to see on a car of this caliber, especially with one costing over $100,000. One more interesting thing about the front is that you do have a sunroof with this vehicle as well, which is absolutely beautiful to see. I actually, me personally, I wasn't accustomed to sunroofs until my mom got her an SUV that had one, and then I'm addicted to them now. So if you're able to get a sunroof, that's always a plus. Just absolutely beautiful spec on this car. But how about we go ahead, take a look at the back and see what kind of goodies you get as a rear passenger in this SRT Hellcat Durango. All right, guys, moving in back of this SRT Hellcat Durango. Again, very beautiful setup. You do get those same very nice seats in the back as you do in the front. Not as bolstered in the back as they are in the front. However, you do still get this beautiful plush leather, that beautiful white stitching, along with your SRT embossed into the backrest. And with this being a SUV, especially a three-row SUV, you do get a lot of room as well. You can easily fit everybody in here, all 6 people in here if you need to. Really nice. Now, one thing about the rear is that you do get these captain seats in the rear, which means you don't get a full bench in this rear. You do just get 2 individual seats. And one cool thing about the rear that you're not accustomed to seeing on a lot of your SUVs or cars in general is that the rear passengers actually get a center console of their own. It does come with 2 cup holders, a little bit of storage space, as well as an actual center console that raises up, basically offering you a lot more storage in this rear, the same amount that you would get in the front. I do believe that the rear center console may be just a little bit deeper than the one in the front. However, nonetheless, it is very nice to have that extra storage here in the back. Same deal with the doors. You do get that leather stitching along the top end of the door, that beautiful strip of forged carbon, and then very nice setup with the rest of the door. You do get your storage as well as cup holder in the bottom of each of these doors, both the back doors and the front doors. Really nice setup. And one cool thing about the actual back of this SRT Durango is that you do get a household plug in this car, which is very nice to see. A lot of people are accustomed to seeing just your regular cigarette lighter plugs or your USB port, but when they do give you a household plug, really nice, because you can charge things like your laptop or whatever the case may be. As far as your rear climate controls, those are going to be controlled up here on the ceiling of your SRT Hellcat Durango. Really nice setup. Instead of them having it down here in the bottom like a lot of cars, they did have it here on the ceiling which is very unique. Now, as far as your actual third row seating, you do just get 2 captain chairs in the back as well. So technically, even though this is a 3-row seater, you do only have really the ability to fit 6 people in here. You may be able to squeeze 7 here in the back due to the fact that even though it is only 2 chairs, it is very enclosed, and so you may be able to use those 2 chairs as a bit of a bench seat. You don't get the same SRT embossment on the backrest of your seats like you do with the front row and the second row. However, very, very nice nonetheless. And one cool thing that I should mention about this SRT HELLCAT Durango is that you do get red seat belts with this car, which is absolutely insane. Absolutely love seeing anything other than gray or black when it comes to your seat belts on the cars. However, how about we go ahead, take a quick look at the trunk, see what kind of space you get in the trunk as well. Now moving to the rear compartment of this SRT HELLCAT Durango, as you guys may expect with it being a 3rd row seater, you don't get a whole lot of extra storage space here in the back with that 3rd row up. Just a very, very basic trunk or hatch area, if you will. But when you decide to go ahead, put that 3rd row back down, you do get a whole lot more space than you would get in a car that even just has a 2-row seating. And so very, very nice setup to the rear. Now, I did mention that you did have the 3rd row, but one thing I didn't mention about the 3rd row passengers is that you do have your cup holders on either side. Overall, very nice and spacious setup to the rear of this Durango. And just like that, guys, that is a full review of this 2023 Dodge Durango SRT HELLCAT. Now, like I mentioned, absolutely insane vehicle. It's going to be rare for the most part. You're probably not going to find too many of these in production. You're not going to find too many of them on the street. I already have a very, very hard time spotting these on the street. So whenever you see one that's an absolute treat, this one right here sitting there right around $109,000. But when you think about everything that you get, the performance, the luxury, the ability to go off-road, all-wheel drive, overall everything, I think that it's worth the price, guys. If you're into getting this particular one, make sure that you visit Westgate Dodge Jeep Ram here in Wake Forest. Absolutely lovely people, absolutely lovely car. Make sure that you guys please like, comment, subscribe if you like the video. But just like that, guys, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.